Hello and welcome everybody, and thank you guys for joining me again. My name is Wilkie and I'm here with another Lost Ark guide, and today's topic is gold. Not specifically gold farming, but everything that gold comes into play with, the importance of it, what its uses are, and obviously sources as well. So without further ado, this video is going to be structured as follows. We're just going to do a quick recap on the multiple things that you can do and use gold for. Then we're going to talk about how to obtain gold, and I will divide those into two categories. One being something that I'd like to call gold generator, and the other being player interaction. And last but not least, we're going to talk about alts and how they can impact your performance in the game, and generally why you should be thinking about playing at least more than one character. So, without further ado, like I said, gold is very important, and I'd go so far as to say that gold is probably the most important currency in the game. Being pretty much the only way to trade with people, gold is the resource of choice when it comes to player interaction. So if you will go to the auction house, which is symbolized by this little hammer symbol on this bronze round plate, everything that you can see here is traded with gold, be that from materials, combat goods, or even gear if you so will, like ability stones. Everything like that goes for gold. So you need gold in order to trade materials and any other stuff with players. Even if you don't want to trade with other people, upgrading your gear also takes gold. I showed this in another video, but generally just upgrading your gear, especially higher tier gear, will also require gold per attempt, and naturally you won't always get the chance to one-tap your items. So gold is very much the gatekeeper, or one of the potential gatekeepers, in order to advance your gear with. And last but not least, higher tier tools, for example purple ones, also take gold to repair. So if you're more into life skills or stuff like that, keep in mind that higher tier tools starting from purple, blue and gray only take silver. Purple takes gold. I assume that the legendary and artifact tools also take gold, but I haven't tested that. But generally saying gold equals progress. So without gold you won't be able to progress within the game. Even if you just play this game by yourself and you don't use the auction house, you do need gold in order to progress. So, joining into the second topic of this video, I like to talk about the gold sources or the gold income that you are able to make use of in Lost Ark. The first subtopic that I want to talk about are so-called, or I like to call them, gold generators, meaning that these activities will create or generate gold for you. So after doing these, you created more gold or generated more gold into the universe or economy of Lost Ark. And honestly, I believe these are the most important things that everybody should be aware of and should be doing at least on their main if they want to progress at relatively decent speeds. Especially since I showed you that upgrading does take gold, and without gold, no upgrades for you. So the first one being Void dungeons. These are symbolized by this blue pillar, or by the pillar with a blue crystal. Now, these are divided into tiers depending on your item level. It starts at 225. Most of you, if you're on the Russian server, are probably going to be using the Ekrasia event character. So after finishing the Ekrasia event, you're most likely going to be able to do the Crucible of Souls. But if you're lower item level, you can see here that there are tiers for different ones and even for higher ones. So for example, I can't do the last one yet because I don't have item level 915 at the moment. So for me, on my character right now, I have to do Crucible of Souls, which are the Urine dungeons, which is Road of Sorrow and Forgotten Forge. You can do both of these. So they are different attempts, meaning per week I can do both of these on this specific character. Like I said, alt's topic is going to be covered later, but just keep in mind, these are activities that you can do on every character. The second thing, which I find a tad bit more annoying, but nonetheless they are still important to do, are the Abyssal Raids. A very similar fashion here. The first one unlocks at 370 and goes all the way up to 825. So afterwards you will no longer be able to receive rewards for it. Afterwards you have Kaiser at 870. And similarly here, you can get gold and other goodies, but we're mainly looking at the gold rewards. Abyssal Raids are a little bit of a hot topic because running these with pickup groups or pugs is, let's just say, not the most enjoyable experience because there are some mechanics. They are usually not that simple, or for some reason a lot of people have trouble understanding these mechanics. So be prepared to fail a lot unless you're running it with a guild or with a pre-made team. Last but not least, there are the so-called badges of the Ephonian Union, and you get these points or these levels by doing weeklies and dailies. And with that, with these badges, we're going to TP to that NPC. You're going to look for an NPC that is called Exchange Gold Coins. And that NPC is usually located somewhere around your auction house, but that really depends on the map you're in. So exchange of gold coins. Like I said, you can exchange 80 of these for a pouch of gold and 200 of these for a chest with gold. Honestly, I don't know. I don't have any concrete evidence yet which one's more effective to use. Once I have some more data, I can elaborate and make a separate video on which one's more effective to use. Basically saying, collect these every week. The difference between the Abyssal Raids and the Void Dungeons and these Ephonian badges are, these are account-wide. So you can only get one package of badges per week. Even if you play 10 characters, you will only be able to do this once, whereas every character can do your Void Dungeons and Abyssal Raid, obviously depending on their item level, but this thing here can only be done once per account. So it's probably just to limit the effectiveness of alts, but just keep that in mind that you can only do this once. These are the recurring weekly things that I find the most important thing. Second of all, there are a few other ways to gain gold. For example, some island events do have gold. Look at that, Darrow Island, for example, Treasure Island does have gold listed as reward. Usually they aren't too big, but if you're really pinching on the gold or you want to earn some more gold, these are definitely a viable thing to do. Last but not least, the Voyage events, which don't have any gold listed in them, but pirate coins, also can generate gold for you. Doing these events, not including the Gate of Harmony, you can obtain certain keys. These keys you then have to use in the Gates of Harmony event, and using those keys at the end of the Gate of Harmony event can net you treasure maps, which then net you gold. So as you can see, it's a little bit hidden, where some of these activities aren't that well explained in the game, but this is another source of gold. So if you're really trying to maximize your gold gain, be prepared to either start doing those or at least keep an eye on some of the island events if you want to earn some more. Last but not least, there are some one-time gold generators. And namely, certain quests do have gold rewards. I don't have a full list, I'm not sure if the list exists. Generally, I don't think it's worth hunting quests for gold. However, these things here, obviously not the Crazy mission, but every character has a character and inherited power tab, which you can access by clicking on this present here. And as you can see here, running certain things will give you one-time gold, which is not a whole lot, but definitely adds up, especially since you can do that on every alt. For example, Crucibles of Souls and Forgotten Forge, which are the Yoran Voids we just talked about a few minutes ago, are worth 200 or 250 gold for the first time you clear them. So this is a substantial amount that will boost your income. Other firsts or other one-time incomes, for example, are the collection of the masterpieces. So if you go to the NPC here, you can see here that after a certain amount of masterpieces, you do have the option to exchange these for gold as well. However, this is definitely something that is more in the long run for people, since you can't really farm those, or a lot of these masterpieces are not there to be obtained within one day. So there is some substantial work you have to put into. And I believe if you're that far into the game to understand how to farm all of these things or reading guides, you probably are well aware of the gold mechanics in the game. Anywho, these are the gold generators. On to the second category, which I like to call player interaction, or pretty much player trading. And as I showed in the intro of this video, going to the auction house broker, you can sell or buy a lot of things here for gold. materials for upgrading ships, engraving books, food, life skill materials such as lumbering, all these things are here. Adventure book items are also sellable, and some of these are actually pretty valuable. If you look about this one, that's pretty good if you think about it. Obviously the drop rate for this is very low, but if you like farming mobs over and over again, maybe for a lucky RNG drop, this is definitely an option that you can consider doing. Also ship materials, cards, pretty much everything you can see here can be sold for gold. Also, you can buy equipment, however that goes into a different tab, because this one goes into a sort of auction rather than a real purchase. And there are ability stones, jewelry, gems, and all sorts of equipment which you can buy either because the quality is very high or the grade, or because they have the right tripods. So as you can see, gold is very interactive and very important in order to make sure to get the most out of your character or progress in the right way, because sometimes RNG will not be in your favor. That's just how it is. So be prepared that at some point in time you may have to opt in to just buy a certain piece of equipment because you can't get that one specific role you need. Last but not least, you can also sell crystals. So yes, there is the Cashshop option and there is pretty much a pay-to-win option, if you will. So going to the currency exchange, you can sell crystals, you can buy crystals for gold, and you can sell crystals for gold. So there's two things here. First of all, you don't have to spend real money in order to get crystals, and crystals are used for stuff like unlocking inventory space, additional tabs for your skill tree, activate your pets, and a few other things. So if you don't, or if you are a free-to-play player and you don't like spending real money, you don't have to, but you have to spend gold. Likewise, if you do have disposable income and you feel like adding a little bit more to your bank account in the game, you can use this as an option as well. So this pretty much sums up the sources of gold. There are definitely more sources of gold in the game, but these are the most important ones. So this should definitely cover pretty much the widest area of it and how to obtain a good amount of gold per week. So on to the last topic, which is, yeah, I guess a little bit of a hot topic here, and that is alts. So I talked about this very briefly when we talked about the Void Dungeons and Abyssal Raids. Alts do have separate attempts for a lot of the content in the game. Meaning, I showed you that the Void Dungeons here, the ones that you can do starting at 870 or something, or 825 I think, net you 1000 gold per week. So we're just gonna check that for a quick second. If you have, let's say, 5 characters on the same item level, yes, I do know that takes time. However, once you're more familiar with the game, you know that doing stuff at the late game is not actually that tricky. But let's just consider you have 2 characters at 840 or more item level. You can do both of these Void Dungeons every week for a whooping 1000 gold. So having 5 characters would mean you get 5000 gold from Voids alone. Same thing goes to Abyssal Raids. If you have characters that can do Abyssal Raids, I don't unfortunately have real numbers. I do know that Kaiser Phase 2, which is something a lot of people run because it's relatively decent, I think grants you 380 gold, which is not a whole lot, but if you multiply this by 5, you're pretty much almost up another 2000 gold. So just doing 5 Void Dungeons, or 10 Void Dungeons and 5 Abyssal Raids per week would net you around about 7000 gold. Then you have the additional Ephonian badges, which is once per account. So you can see playing multiple characters is actually beneficial to you in the game. Now, personally, I'm not a big alt fan. So for me, we're just gonna check my characters here quickly. I actually only run 2 alts, and I did make another guide where I explained on how to, or what I do on a daily basis to not completely spend my every single minute in the game farming, but actually do activities that I like. For me, it's mainly PvP, but for other people that may be collectibles and stuff like that. But like I said, I do have my Lance Master at 870, so she's pretty much doing the exact same thing as my main at the moment. And I do have a Soul Master, which is at 810, so she's doing lower level Void Dungeons, and actually she can't do Yeah, she's also doing the Mystic raid, not the Kaiser raid. So this is pretty much all I'm using, and this is something that I can progress fairly quickly with. Obviously, the more time you have to play, and the more alts you're going to be playing, the more options you have in order to get gold. However, this is really a trade-off between how much you enjoy playing the game, how much time you have to play the game, and how much you really want to dedicate yourself to playing these things. Last but not least, in terms of that alt topic, what you can do if you really found that one class that you absolutely love and you don't want to play anything else, you could make 5 or 10 of the same class and just repeat all the same progress, and technically it would feel like you're playing one character. Not exactly, but you get the idea. If you really just want to play that one class because you like Devil Hunter so much, or you want to bash up people with your Infighter because you love how those fists are pumping and how the visuals look on that hero, you can do that just fine as well. Anywho, this is all in regards to the topic of gold that I can give you. I do hope that this was helpful, especially for newer people, in order to sort themselves out, understand where the gold is coming from, and how to get gold or how to use gold effectively. So, this is pretty much all. Like I said, I will stream, as I said, in many other options, 1700 CEST on every Monday as long as I do have time. I also stream other days per week as I announce them on Twitch, Twitter, or on videos like these, so feel free to check those out. I'll also run a Discord server, which you can check out in the description below. If you want to speak to me directly, either do so in the comment section or just shoot me a message on Discord and I will happily answer there. Last but not least, I hope you guys have a great week. Stay safe out there, stay healthy, and I will hopefully see you guys either on the next video or on the next stream. So have a good one, and see ya.